up is, oh shit, it's me. All right. So, I had a number of poems I was working on before Tuesday night for tonight, and then I scrapped all of them. But as Michelle said in her introduction earlier, there's a practice that I've been doing for about 2 years now where I'll go out and I'll write just on a street for people on a manual typewriter. And they'll give me a subject, and I'll write them a poem based on that subject. And so I did that on Tuesday at one of the polling stations. And I talked to people coming in and out of the polling station, and every time I read a poem, I read it to the person and I give it to them. But I take a picture before I do that. And so I have a little mini collection of poems that were written on Tuesday as people were checking their ballots before they'd come out. Not before they'd come out, I wasn't next to them. After they'd come out, but before the election results were announced. And so a lot of these poems are hopeful, and some of them maybe are afraid, and in light of the election of an orange motherfucker, hopefully they will have an aspect of condolence. So, yeah, I'm going to share a couple of these. This first one was written for a woman at the polls who told me I'm a Native American and I'm afraid for my people, is what she said. History, like an hourglass, turning over and over, the tides are our cousins. We sang together when we were younger. Lost contact later. How many miles of fights between us, coming home, and here there is no home. But I make a bed every time I lay my head on those stones. The unburied ancestors are dancing. Yours, mine, the war dance of always, rumbling in the throats of new generations. We cry for ourselves, for each other, through the veil of history, desperately turning the hourglass. The most disturbing thing to come across my Facebook feed, Facebook is an echo chamber, obviously, in light of the election, was a gay friend of mine who on Wednesday morning posted, "If you can't beat them, join them. So proud to be tall and white." If you can't beat them, join them. So proud. And I'm thinking, what is pride? What does that mean? I think that we, as white folks, are taught that what we do is our own, that our accomplishments don't rely on anyone else, even as we're allowed to ask for more than anybody else. And I think that through giving us this sense of agency, we end up forgetting history. And so we end up being doomed to repeat it in certain senses. This next poem was for a couple. This woman with a bow on her head and a very high-pitched little voice. And she said, "My boyfriend doesn't believe that people are good. He doesn't believe he's a cynic, he's a skeptic. And I'm an optimist. Can you write a poem about that?" And this is what happened. Another day in humanity. How many miles of toast and jam, and if I'm paralyzed even by the choice of which one to have, what hope do we have as a species? choosing to fight. Fight or flight. Amelia Earhart, Women on Wing, declarations of independence and the freedom of choice, rational or not, the ability to do otherwise, free will or free coffee with an I voted sticker. At least do it for the photo op. Why don't you? He says cynically, pretending his beating heart isn't leaking between his fingertips. Another woman who I talked to later on that night in an election night party that got increasingly less like a party and more like a funeral, her kids came up and were like fascinated by the typewriter. These two like long-haired little boys, they're probably like 8 and 10, just typing away forever. And their mom told me she's an educator. Well, she is between jobs right now, but that's what she does. She's an educator. And she said that waiting on that night felt like waiting in a doctor's office for test results to find out what the crap was going on. And this one's for her. Waiting Room Anxiety 2016. The X-ray of the nation is backlit up on the wall. My fingers can't let go of the coffee cup. Jittery though they are, I've had one too many already. My brain is racing with possible futures, multiple universes colliding. Ones where we're malignant, ones where we're benign. In the shadow of the bomb, Cold War politics got me thinking we'd douse the flames, but here we are on fire again, blowing smoke out of who knows where. Our shouts retweeted, liked, starred, double-tapped, amplified into meaninglessness. And careful, you who stare too long into the void, everyone gathered to watch that X-ray image, to watch it form, and learn what's in our nation's heart. Squeezing tight together, waiting room anxiety on election night. Waiting room anxiety and all of us here living with disease, inoperable survivors.
Oh, man.
Thank you. I want to leave you with just one more. This one was a story that was really beautiful. It was an interracial, international couple who said that they had gotten together in this last year. And part of their courtship, right, part of their romance, part of their story of who they are as a couple, has been coming through the shitstorm. And so this little poem is for that. Forces of nature come in all shapes and sizes. No boundaries, no limits. We royal, we in the eye of the storm are a love letter, a prayer that is more assurance than ask. We will be okay, we say. Sing it, film it, play it back over and over. Hey, I love you. Across boundaries, tongues, bodies, warping in each other's torrents. What storms may come. What storms may come. Thank you, guys.